The saying goes, physical appearance does not matter. What matters the most is the beauty of the inner soul. It might need progress and time to let people around you see that you are a good person by heart. Having a nice physical appearance does not mean that you will experience less hardships than others. So rather than worrying about your appearance and beauty, it's better to spend your valuable time and interests on things which can make yourself proud of. All the people around the world are beautiful in different aspects, but many of us do not discover the true beauty inside us. We keep lamenting over our appearance. If you really think you're not beautiful, it's better to work wisely to overcome those problems rather than mourning over it. Not all the people are lucky enough to be born with a perfect body. Almost all of us have something missing or different than others. While some have beautiful eyelashes, some may not even have a single hair or eyelash, and while some have ear-pleasing voices, like me, some may not even have the ability to talk. There are numbers of people who are suffering all around the world due to some kind of loss or pain in their bodies. So it is better for us to be content with what we have received in this life. Today we found a life-changing story about a little boy who was dubbed as the boy with no face, and it will also deliver you how his family, a kind-hearted woman and a group of profound doctors withdrew all the pain, sadness and doubtfulness in their lives. Fatima and Mustafa, who lived in a small village called Casablanca in Morocco, were eagerly awaiting their baby boy to come into this world, but they never thought that the baby would suffer a lot in the near future. The day when little Yahya was born, doctors asked the father, Mustafa, to come see his son. Mustafa, not knowing what is really happening, was very happy to hear those words. With a smile and happy tears in his face, he quickly went to the neonatal intensive care unit, but his heart stopped after seeing the baby with many tubes all over his body. Mostly, he was shocked to see an unclear face, but he never stopped loving baby Yahya. Both of them, Fatima and Mustafa, loved their son dearly and never let Yahya feel down on himself. Even though they loved and cared for their son a lot, not many people looked at the boy with kind hearts. Most of the people around the village would talk behind the corner up this little boy. So whenever they went out of their house, they would cover the boy up with a sheet. The little boy never saw the outside world, and the outsiders never saw Yahya. Even the children in the village were so scared of this boy, and no one ever came to play with him. But he was lucky enough to have one beautiful girl in the neighborhood who was not scared of him. This girl was known as Hiba, and she was 3 years older than Yahya. She loved this boy a lot and they played together well. Her parents also loved this innocent boy. They could not bear to see this kind of kid living in pain, so they took some of Yahya's pictures and posted them on social media platforms seeking help from anyone in the world. Days passed and Hiba's father did not get a response from anyone special, but he waited patiently until one day he got a message from someone he might have never thought. They might not have ever guessed that Yahya will be so lucky to get the attention of Fatima Baraka, who was willing to help him overcome his problems. Fatima Baraka was a Moroccan-born Australian citizen. She also had a rough and tough life until her middle ages. Baraka was the youngest of a family of 9 and was sent to Australia to live with her brother when she was just 8 years old. She lived a quiet and peaceful life until 2 or 3 years back when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. The hardest was to wait until the results came. She once said to Dr. Andrew, finally, she got to know that the cancer had not spread throughout her body and she can live life as a normal person with treatments. After all these incidents, Baraka wanted to sacrifice herself to those who are in need, so she would pack her clothes and travel around the country, searching for people in need. That's how she got to know about Yahya. The way how she found the story of Yahya was literally heart-melting. I opened my Facebook one day and I'm scrolling through. I saw an image that really caught my attention. Dr. Andrew then asked, what did she see? And then Baraka, while crying, replied, it was this little boy, a very young looking little boy with a very deformed face. I'll never forget that picture in my life. Once she saw this message with a phone number written in a very large red font, she thought that it was a cry for help. So she quickly took her phone and called the number. Mustafa was amazed to see a foreign phone call to him. They talked about their problems with this kind lady. The only thing Yahya's parents wanted was to make Yahya's appearance more normal for him to easily interact with society. Baraka searched for many doctors who could treat this little boy. She went from city to city and asked her friends about doctors specialized in this deformation. Finally, she got to know about Dr. Tony Holmes, who was a specialist in this category. He was the amazing doctor who separated the conjoined babies Krishna and Trishna. Baraka contacted him within a few days. She sent Yahya's pictures to Dr. Tony, where he said, "We still really need to assess and see if this is something we can do, because we cannot experiment on children. We have to do something reasonable so that the child can live a normal life." Reporters of this story, Dr. Andrew and Fatima Baraka, met in the Moroccan village where Yahya was living. Baraka said, "I cannot wait to meet him. I started loving him without even seeing, and now I really cannot wait to see him. He is just a beautiful little soul." On the minute of meeting Yahya, Baraka teared up with a lot of happiness after seeing this little boy. She took him to her arms and cried a lot. She was quite shocked, but after a few minutes the house was like a party. She was very happy to be in this humble house. She spent a few days where they found out that this little boy was very clever and one who almost has the same knowledge as of other kids of his own age, except for the ability in talking. Dr. Tony's only problem was that to know if the boy was ready for a surgery. He said, "Yahya may not die if we do not proceed with the surgery, but he might do if we do the surgery." They did not know how his brain was functioning, so they needed Yahya to visit them for special medical attention. Yahya had never left his home before, but early next morning, he and his mother flew to Australia with Baraka and Dr. Andrew. Later that day, after they arrived at the hospital, Dr. Tony met the little boy. He examined Yahya thoroughly and gave him opinions. It is always a big shock to see a kid like this. This type of cleft is very rare because of his skin. Well, it's very thin, and it will be really hard to carry on with the surgery. They did a few more CT scans and MRI scans so they can get the neurological details of Yahya's brain. Dr. Tony said, "We've got to make sure that he's fit and healthy, and his diet has been up to scratch so that he can cope with major anesthetics and blood transfusions. And if those things aren't right, we may have to quit operating." They did the test for 2 weeks, and on the day the test results were out, they were both happy to hear that the little Yahya was eligible for the operation. Baraka, Dr. Andrew, and Yahya's mother were overjoyed with this happy news. The operation includes a surgery where they make an attempt in getting the two separated halves of his skull together, using his own skin to build up a new nose. They have found that Yahya's brain is pretty normal, and his vocal cords are also similar to other kids, but because of the deformation, he could not speak. Therefore, Dr. Tony said that right after the operation, he might start to speak. The operation, which had a 50-50 chance to live, took over 24 hours to complete, and everyone was in awe to see the results. Everyone was left with happy tears in their eyes after they saw Yahya. The results were stunning and made everyone so shocked. The boy who had no clear nose, mouth, and ears is now having a beautiful face. Most children born with such deformities do not survive, but this lucky boy did not only survive, but got an amazing chance to change things in his life. Being born in a rural village in Morocco and being able to travel to the other side of the world to get a life-changing treatment is really something that normal people cannot achieve. So that's the end of today's video. Before going, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to be notified with our latest updates. See you in our next video.